Hi, everybody. Welcome to Pushing Contact Center Boundaries with Salesforce and AWS. My name is Mark Rutkowski. I'm a Principal Product Manager for Amazon Connect. And joining me today as my co-speaker will be Zane Gamble, Product Manager for Salesforce. For our agenda today, I'm excited to see how Zane will take us through the Salesforce Contact Center journey and how Salesforce took advantage of innovating in the voice channel with Amazon Connect, among other digital channels, to rapidly bring value and migrate their contact center experience. We recognized early on the value of customer data and how Amazon Connect needed to integrate with it. The customer is first for Salesforce and AWS, and it resides in the CRM. So we knew we needed options for customer data integration. The value of our partnership announced last year drew a better connection, and the CTI adapter was an early version of that story. The value of customer data and CRM was addressed early on in the CTI adapter, and now with our partnership also includes Salesforce Service Cloud Voice. By the end of this presentation, you will see the options you can implement today to bring the same level of innovation and capabilities to your Salesforce CRM and Amazon Connect Contact Center. I'll hand it over to Zane, who's going to kick us off with their customer journey. Zane, over to you.
All right, thanks, Mark. We're going to kick this off talking about our voice journey and how we landed on Amazon Connect. First, let me introduce myself and my role. I am a product manager within Salesforce's Business Technology Group. We are responsible for ensuring our business partners have the technology needed to succeed. My role specifically is focused on our internal voice strategy, so ensuring the technology is meeting current needs, developing additional features for our business groups, and always ensuring that we are rolling out anything that comes from the product for feature-wise. So we rolled out our global solution on Amazon Connect to all of Salesforce starting at the beginning of 2020, right as the pandemic started. We very quickly had to pivot from 99% of our users in Salesforce offices with reliable networks to going soft phone only via remote agent scenario. And somehow we did this rollout without any sort of voice quality issues or outages. And then when I say all of Salesforce, I mean all of Salesforce. Sales, support, finance, HR, any group that has an inbound, outbound voice need, we moved from our previous system to Amazon Connect. Now, like all tech change, it doesn't happen fast. Our change in technology was a 3-year-long journey, from evaluating our own tools to understanding that, what we actually need from a vendor to going to a hefty RFP. Salesforce had kept the same voice technology for 9+ years, and after a significant amount of outages, we realized that we needed to change. And we looked for something that was reliable, quick to implement, and had the ability to be customized to meet our future needs. We finally landed on Amazon Connect, oddly enough, even before Service Cloud Voice was even a thing. They met all of our requirements, had a great track record with feature rollouts at a speed that we needed. And the quick to implement was really the key for us. From development to deployment, we did it in 8 months. And that's with us having over 400 different call flows and 1,000+ toll-free numbers. And by utilizing AWS ProServe as well as Voice Foundry, we were able to turn this around in a short period. Now, one big takeaway that I had from our implementation was how quickly we could set up personalization with contact data from Salesforce, as using Lambda and Poly. And we were able to have a consistent experience across all of our Salesforce lines with the same voice set. Before, we would have a single call flow with a mix of professional and non-professional voice talents. And moving to Connect allowed us to be consistent across all of Salesforce. And at this point, we have been live with Amazon Connect for almost a year now with 0 service outages. All right, and now Mark is going to take you into the Amazon Connect and CTI adapter story.
Thanks, Zane. It's amazing at the speed at which Salesforce was able to move their contact center to Amazon Connect and scale globally. So for those who are less familiar with Amazon Connect, in 2017, we launched Amazon Connect, the easy-to-use omni-channel contact cloud contact center. Amazon Connect delivers differentiators that allow AWS customers to create exceptional customer experiences. It was built from the ground up to be 100% cloud-based and can be set up in minutes without the need for any coding. Once set up, Amazon Connect has a flexibility to scale up and down in a moment's notice depending on the demand from your customers. And for example, where customers such as Intuit have the need to scale from 6,000 to 11,000 customers to address income tax season. Contact flows allow you to easily create compelling customer experiences and enable you to build automated experiences as well. Amazon Connect is an open platform that is simple to integrate with other enterprise applications to address specialized use cases for your business. And the power of AWS is really what's backing Amazon Connect. AWS services and partners can quickly innovate on new customer experiences. Today, there are over 200 AWS services live, and our partners have already deployed hundreds of integrations with Amazon Connect. Finally, a core tenet to AWS is our consumption pricing model, which allows your business to focus on reinventing and innovating the customer experience without worrying about costly licensing models. You pay for only what you use. By the way, I highly recommend watching Andy's keynote where he highlights the 8 tenets of how to reinvent. It's been an exciting journey since we launched Amazon Connect. In terms of the agent experience, on the right is the contact control panel, as we like to call it, the CCP. This omni-channel web application gives agents controls for handling their voice, chat, and task, along with managing their status. It supports all the basic capabilities agents need and runs entirely in the browsers of softphone, no plugins required. This enables us to easily integrate into CRMs like Salesforce to manage cases, take notes, and perform tasks. Amazon Connect provides a single API stream for voice, chat, and task, which allows you to completely build a customized user experience if you wish, but you can also embed the CCP with many industry standard solutions and homegrown applications. Of course, many of our software partners offer out-of-the-box integrations to easily embed the contact control panel into their applications. And you'll see 2 examples today with Salesforce using the CTI adapter and Service Cloud Voice. Customers such as Bellhop mentioned in their case study, our agents adopted Amazon Connect very quickly and were taking calls within the first hour with little training needed. We've also integrated Amazon Connect into Salesforce, making our agent experience even more user-friendly. In addition to the agent experience, you can easily integrate Amazon Connect into your customer databases leveraging AWS Lambda, our serverless compute. Using Lambda data dips to pull information about the customer, you can build a dynamic, personalized customer experience in the contact flow leveraging Poly, which converts text to spoken audio in various languages across voice and chat to greet the customer. Using Amazon Lex, the same engine that powers the popular Alexa-enabled device, you can easily create a chatbot that is dynamic, natural, and personalized. And just like Lambda, it can be reused across your contact flows and channels as needed. For example, you can use a LexBot to determine the intent of why your customer is calling and using case data from your Salesforce CRM to provide a self-service experience in the contact center. This helps deflect calls and chats to your agents. Now, of course, it would be lovely if we could automate all interactions and contain every customer in an automated system, but realistically, there are times when you have to connect an end customer to an agent. In those scenarios, we can automate the case creation in the contact flow using Lex and Lambda, so the agent has the full context of the call when you screen pop the contact and a new case within their Salesforce CRM experience. You'll see examples of this both with the CTI adapter and Service Cloud Voice. Finally, your data is your data. For example, you can take the call analytics data from Amazon Connect Contact Lens, which analyzes call transcripts, sentiment, and conversation characteristics to detect issues and customer trends. Those analytics and call recordings are stored in Amazon S3 and can be leveraged within Salesforce by your agents and supervisors to provide better customer insights. The Amazon Connect CTI adapter for Salesforce Service and Sales Cloud is an extensible, free integration that you can download on the Salesforce App Exchange. Customers can configure the CTI adapter for Salesforce Classic or the Lightning experience. The CTI adapter offers a number of capabilities that you can easily configure to build your integrated contact center experience between Amazon Connect and Salesforce. In terms of the features that we offer, SSO enables you to provide a seamless login experience for your agents. In one click, you can install the pre-built Lambda functions from the AWS serverless repository, so you can easily configure data dips, interact with Amazon Connect and Salesforce omnichannel capabilities, and even post to Salesforce chatter feeds. Agents have full access to the Amazon Connect omnichannel capabilities for voice, chat, and most recently announced task. In addition, we can also support Salesforce's omnichannel capabilities via features such as Presence Sync. We provide what you would expect a CTI adapter to provide in terms of click-to-call, logging of calls, enabling playback of recorded calls, Most recently, we actually introduced the ability to view and leverage Amazon Connect contact lens analytics within Salesforce. Definitely check that out. Using CTI flows, you can easily customize your agent experience using our drag and drop editor to configure click to call, screen pops of voice, chat, and task, creation of cases and tasks, call logging, and supportive workflows within Salesforce, such as high velocity sales. Finally, you can leverage real-time and historical reporting data from within Amazon Connect to build contact center dashboards for your agents and supervisors using Salesforce's reporting capabilities. Here is a high-level architecture that supports the integration between Amazon Connect and Salesforce. The CTI adapter allows you to quickly set up, configure, and build your contact center experience using the extensive capabilities of Amazon Connect, AWS, and Salesforce Service Cloud. Customers such as Traeger Grills told us they were able to set up their integration in less than 30 minutes and using Lambda to easily pass data between Amazon Connect and Salesforce, which enables agents to spend less time in administration and more time on helping customers. And with that, let's jump into a demo. In my setup here, we have a demo airline company where I've installed the Amazon Connect CTI adapter for Salesforce from the App Exchange. If I switch over here to my Service Cloud instance, you'll see I have the CCP configured and ready to go. I'm logged in as an agent. I've actually set this up with single sign-on with Salesforce being the IDP. I'm not going to walk you through how to set that up in this demo. What you can do is go to our setup guide, which is very detailed and excellent in terms of walking you through the steps to set all that up. In addition, we also have a trailhead within Salesforce that can also quickly walk you through up in some of the basic capabilities and get you up and running fairly quickly. Next, we have installed the Amazon Connect Salesforce Lambda package, which is essentially an AWS serverless package that you can one-click install into your AWS environment. If you're not familiar with this serverless package, it's a set of predefined Lambdas that we install into your account that give you access to a lot of the common data functions that you would leverage between the environments, particularly around data dips. So you can see here that here in documentation, we have a lot of common, CRUD exercises that you'd be able to do against your Salesforce data. So for example, we have a phone lookup feature, which allows you to basically take the phone number, look that up against a contact in Salesforce and pull back, say, a name, right? And then you can add that and personalize that within your contact flow. I'll show you some of that here at level. Let's jump into the Connect flow. So when I call in, I'm going to execute this sample inbound flow, the first contact experience. I set some logging behavior. I then turn on recording and analytics. This is the contact lens feature that we have within Amazon Connect. We recently released contact lens integration with the CTI adapter, where you can leverage call analytics such as agent and customer sentiment within Salesforce, and I definitely recommend that you check that out. We're going to come in, we'll set some contact attributes. The first Lambda call that we're going to have from a data dip perspective, we're going to call a Salesforce operation called phone lookup. We're going to get back fields ID and name based on the phone number that's getting passed to us, which is essentially from Connect, which is the customer number. So we're going to pass this in. What this is going to allow us to do then is get back the ID and name. What we really care about is the name overall. And then essentially as we pass through, we're checking what type of channels are coming in basically as a chat or a task. We're going to validate that here, or obviously voice, and then go through the rest of the flow. I'm going to focus really on the voice piece of this here. And we're also checking if we've been through this, if we loop a few times, we want to obviously not continue to play the same greeting over again. So once we get to the prompt, we're essentially going to say, hello, welcome, John. Thanks for calling. So again, you can see how easy that was. So basically taking the results from the Lambda, with the name here, and I'm playing that back through Poly. Again, very simple way to add some personalization to your Lambda flow. We're going to determine the intent of why the customer is calling. So we've actually created a Lex bot. Again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of details going into that, but essentially what it does, it's a Lex bot called Get Reason Calling. This allows us to return different types of intents that have been determined by Lex on behalf of the customer. So in this case, it's a very simple Lex bot. It's going to return based on what I say to the Lex bot. It's going to tell me it's a complaint, or it's for points, a payment issue, a baggage issue, a ticketing issue. So to identify this initial intent, and then Once I've identified this intent, what I'm going to then do is essentially open a case. Right? So what I want to do here is I'm going to invoke another Lambda function, SF operation called create on the object called case, using the origin of phone, status new, subject the customer reason. So this is the intent that I just got from Lex that was recognized by that. So that's what I'm opening it up as the customer reason and why the case is open. What's the priority? I'm opening just by default as low around this. Obviously, again, I could add more dynamic capabilities here as well, depending on what type of case information I want to leverage here as well. I'm also putting in the contact ID here as also as part of it. And then once I get the case number, what I'm then doing is setting a couple of contact attributes. One called ACSF case number, and another called new case. So this is a value if I set this to true, when it goes into my CTI flow, that CTI flow would create a new case. When I set it to false, it's actually going to go look up a case. So again, this is just a way of me giving some indication as this context is getting passed in from the IVR. Am I dealing with a new case, or do I need to go grab and screen pop an existing case? Here as well, I've got the case number, so I'm going to pass that in as well, which is what we pulled from the previous Lambda call also as part of that. And then finally, we go into the general menu that we go here that gives you different options. We're actually going to end up pressing option 1 because I want to go to an agent. Then the context of everything that we've collected up to this point will then get passed into the agent. I'll switch over now to CTI flows, and we'll walk you through what that looks like as this gets passed into the agent as well. So let's now jump into the agent experience. And as part of that, I'm going to walk you through what we call CTI flows. CTI flows, similar to Connect flows, provide a drag and drop UI that allows you to easily enable an agent workflow within Salesforce. If you're familiar with our scripting approach we had in version 4, you will notice CTI flows are very similar in terms of the functions as they wrap the Salesforce CTI and Amazon Connect Streams APIs. If you check out our documentation, we show you essentially, you can look at the CTI flow sources and events. This shows you a lot of the key events that you would leverage as part of the CTI flow sources and how they work. In addition to that, we actually give you a lot of CTI flow examples that show you, for example, how to do a chat screen pop, a voice screen pop, click to dial, screen pop on a customer phone number, creating a task, etc. And what I'm going to show you here is essentially popping the case that we're passing that we created in the IVR, and I'll show you how that works here as well. Once you see that, you'll kind of see how CTI flows work in general. All right, so we'll switch over to Salesforce now. So let me switch windows here. And let's see, refresh there. So what I'm going to do here is go over to where I have my CTI adapters. So this is essentially where all the configuration is for my Lightning adapter that I have set up. So you can see a lot of the configuration information is already set up. I'm going to click on the CTI flow button here. We give you some examples out of the box to start. I created a custom one here that I imported. By the way, we'll be having a blog post out shortly on this that does a deep dive on CTI flow, so keep an eye out for that as well. So let me go into the editor here, and I'll just walk you through some steps of how this works. So I'm going to scroll down here, zoom in a little bit. So essentially, as we recall, we've passed the call into the queue. The queue now is then going to get passed, to an agent who's waiting to receive the call. So in this case, I'm available. I'm ready to receive the call. Again, when I go through the demo, you'll see that and how that all works and how that all comes together. So it's going to come in. The first thing I'm going to do is going to get that contact attribute I showed you that earlier, where we determined whether this was a new case or an existing case. So in the, if for the use case that we're walking through here, this is false, right? So this is an if-then block that we've got here as well. If it was true, we would screen pop a new case with a new record, and then essentially you would end there. But because we're using an existing case, we're going to then essentially get the contact attribute called ACSF case number, and then we're going to do a screen pop based on that screen number as well. All right, so let's jump into a demo and see how this all comes together. So I'm going to close this tab out. I'm going to go back to my home screen. Check I'm available. We're going to take a call.
Hello, John Bond. Thanks for calling. How can we assist you today?
I lost my luggage.
Thanks for that information. These are some examples of what the Amazon Connect Virtual Contact Center can enable you to do. Press 1 to be put in queue for an agent.
So at this point, I'm just going to try to get to the agent as quickly as possible.
Changing the priority of an individual contact in the queue and will allow you to request a callback and be called when an agent is available. Press 1 to move to the front of the queue or press 2 to move. The time in queue is less than 5 minutes. Press 1 to go into queue or 2 to enter a callback number.
Okay, we see the call coming in.
Basic queue.
Let's mute that. So what you can see here essentially is the screen pop happened. You can see the case that identified, it created the case. As you heard me earlier mention about the baggage, it's associated with the contact. So all of that you've got here as well. So that concludes the demo. Hopefully we've given you a good overview of how you can leverage the CTI adapter with the land of serverless functions to essentially build your customer experience. And with that, I'll hand it over to Zane.
Now that you've seen the Amazon Connect CTI adapter for Salesforce, let's go ahead and talk about Service Cloud Voice. To really dig into Service Cloud Voice, we have to first think of what is Service Cloud. Service Cloud is Salesforce's focus on all things service and the customer. And we do that by using our Customer 360. Customer 360 powers human-centric service to drive customer loyalty and satisfaction. And with Customer 360 service, companies can deliver truly personal experiences at scale with a complete view of every customer in a single powerful workspace. You can elevate agents with intelligence and tools like AI-powered recommendations, automation, and training, which you'll see a little bit in Service Cloud Voice. Within that Customer 360 service, we have Service Cloud Voice, and Service Cloud Voice is fully integrated into Service Cloud and the Customer 360. And by using a built-in soft phone, you have the ability to take calls anywhere in the world. With Service Cloud Voice and Amazon Connect, you get access to all your customer data, phone calls built directly into Omnichannel, all of the Amazon Connect pre-integrated as well as embedded soft phone controls into the new voice call record. And with the full Omni integration, you now get voice within your Omni supervisor to see a holistic view of all your agents. And with real-time transcription, we open up the use of Salesforce Einstein to do things such as next best action. And now let's take a look at demo of Service Cloud Voice.
Quick demo of Service Cloud Voice with a fairly out-of-the-box setup. We will outline what it looks like in Omnichannel. We'll look at the voice call record, check out Omnichannel Supervisor, and then we'll pivot to the reporting portion. And finally, we'll walk through what it looks like in Amazon Connect. Now, the first thing you probably see is there is no phone panel that you would expect if you're familiar with Salesforce OpenCTI. All the call controls are built into Omnichannel. Let me go available. From here, you could just type into the phone pad like any sort of panel, or for our purposes, I will utilize the click to dial. So I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a quick call. Okay, now as I answer this, you're going to see a new object pop called Voice Call. This is something that came with Service Cloud Voice. And this is pretty much what would replace in the past a task or a call activity. From here, you can link all the contact, account, case details. You'll see call controls over here where you can turn off recording. You can pause, mute, end call. You also have these controls in the Omnichannel panel as well. You can do the same things. Plus, you can also here add callers, do conferences. Any sort of quick connection you might have in Amazon Connect would appear here. And from here, you'll see this Voice Fields tab. And this has all the call data listed. All the stuff will fill in when the call is over, such as call duration. And one thing you note here, you'll see the vendor call key, and that's key for Service Cloud Voice because that is actually the Amazon Connect contact ID. So if you ever need to go and look at any sort of logs, that is the key to do so. You'll also have a voice recording tab, and once the call is over, and as long as you have the right permission set, you'll see a call recording here that you can play and listen to from within Salesforce. And finally, we have voice transcript, and this is just from my test call to myself. It will show up here conversation style from agent and caller. And last but not least, on here you do have voice notes, and this is where you're going to set your case resolution, which is important for reporting piece, which I will show here shortly. Let's go ahead and click on Omni Supervisor. It's going to load. And from here, you'll see some test users as well as myself, and you'll see I have one voice call, and it tells you when I accepted it, how long I've been logged in, and you can also change the status in here, and you can also see any sort of inbound queues that I might be assigned through Omni. All right, next up, what I want to do is let's go ahead and pull up the analytics piece, and we'll go ahead and look at what some default reporting looks like with Service Cloud Voice. Okay, while this is pulling up, this was just created with out-of-the-box template. No additional was added, so we'll have our Service Cloud Voice Analytics dashboard here. And when you get here, you'll see all the traditional statistics like call volume, average handle time, speed to answer, call resolution, and abandonment rate. The call resolution, which is kind of important, it links to that voice call record I was discussing earlier. You're going to want to make sure you align what is the resolution option in your pick list, and that'll calculate here based on the number of voice call records that you have created. Okay. The graphs, everything's all default within Service Cloud Voice Analytics. It was very easy to set up. Lots of great data for supervisors, managers, and agents alike. Finally, let's go ahead and take a look at that outbound contact flow. If you're familiar with Amazon Connect, this will look like the out-of-the-box solution. This is the sample outbound flow that we suggest and comes with Service Cloud Voice. Starts out, you're going to set the logging behavior just like you would. You're going to set whether you want it to be recorded or not. And then you'll see where we start streaming media. And that stream actually is sending to the KVS trigger lambda that you would put in there. And that is what does the transcription real time for that outbound call. Now, one thing here that is really important, if you're like us, I don't have it in this flow, but what we did is we set up a decision branch based on the country code dialed. And this is where you would stamp based on that what outbound caller ID you would actually want, which is really important for us for regionalized. All right, I think that's everything for this demo. Thank you very much.
And now that you've seen Service Cloud Voice, let's talk about our approach at Salesforce to transitioning from the Amazon Connect managed package to Service Cloud Voice. Now, we're planning to do a phased migration over the next 8 months to move all of our support organization to Service Cloud Voice, and which aligns with our Salesforce on Salesforce mentality. Some of our challenges we're facing will be maintaining multiple voice solutions among our business partners. We'll have the Amazon managed package, we'll have Service Cloud Voice, and we'll even have our other Salesforce product called Lightning Dialer. We also have to compete with other business priorities that will determine our timelines. Now, we've talked about the benefits of Service Cloud Voice, but for us, having the Amazon Connect backbone in place and fully integrated into Salesforce gives us the best of both worlds. We can leverage all the previous work and our current contact flows to quickly get us up and running. Now, once again, we are leveraging the knowledge and resources of our AWS ProServe partners, as well as utilizing the AWS innovation team to do a complete redesign of our customer support experience when we move to Service Cloud Voice. And final, let's just make sure you stay up to date with Salesforce news. You can go to salesforce.com/news for any timely stories and media highlights, as well as learn more about Service Cloud Voice. And now I'm going to turn this over to Mark to close us out.
Thanks, Zane. That was awesome. It's been great working with you as a partner and seeing the joint success we've had with telling our customers on how they can do the same. And here are a number of links that get you started with building your contact center experience with the CTI adapter, including a link to the App Exchange, our documentation, and even Salesforce trailheads to get you quickly started. As Zane mentioned, how AWS Professional Service was able to accelerate their contact center migration, here are some links if you're interested to talking to our ProServe team to accelerate your contact center needs with Amazon Connect and Salesforce, leveraging many of our standard ProServe offerings. Definitely recommend catching our Amazon Connect launch sessions to get a deep dive on our latest launches, particularly around Voice ID, Task, Wisdom, and customer profiles. So definitely check those out. Finally, we also have a great lineup of Amazon Connect customer and partner sessions like this one. So definitely check those out as well as part of your reInvent. And with that, we thank you for your time. We really look forward to hearing about the great contact center experiences that you build with Amazon Connect and Salesforce. And definitely please complete a survey. Thank you very much. Have a great day.